Happy Friday to you. Calling from Melrose Mountain at Higher Ground in Tryon, North Carolina. And this is a good place for this particular lesson from Mark chapter 11, because here at Higher Ground I have two peach trees. And every year in the springtime they blossom. Then little buds appear and marble-sized peaches appear. And by the time we get back up again, when it's time when peaches would start to be golf ball or baseball size, the peaches are all gone. There's nothing but pits on the ground. It's so disappointing. Don't know whether the frost in the spring gets them, whether the squirrels, raccoons, who gets them, but I have yet to eat a peach from that peach tree. And that's exactly what happens here in Mark chapter 11, verses 12 through 14, and then you pick the story back up again down at verse 20. Jesus, you remember, has gone into Jerusalem in his triumphant entry. He's gone back out to Bethany to rest and to spend the night, and in the morning he's hungry and he looks and he sees off in the distance a fig tree. Now you gotta understand fig trees before you understand the story. Fig trees, unlike many other trees, produce the fruit and the leaves at the same time. With my peach tree, it produces leaves first, then flowers, then finally fruit. But a fig tree produces leaves and figs simultaneously. And since fig trees bloom and blossom and produce fruit twice a year, one would expect that if a tree was in full leaf, that it would have figs on it. And so Jesus looks off and he sees a fig tree. Even though it's not fig season, this fig tree is in full leaf, which would lead him to believe that perhaps it's early with its fruit and its leaves. And so he goes to get fruit from the tree because it says he's hungry. And when he gets there, there are nothing but leaves. Now, we have to believe that Jesus, knowing all things, knew that nobody had picked it clean. Of course, if you've ever been around any kind of fruit tree, it's really hard to pick one completely clean if it's a very good fruit-producing tree. Peaches will hide in the leaves, and apples will hide in the leaves, and easy when you're picking to miss an apple or a peach. And I'm sure it would be even easier to miss something like a fig. Nevertheless, Jesus curses the fig tree. That isn't that he uses curse language, but he says, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And the next day, as the different stories with the Matthew parallel in chapter 21, it tells us the next day that Peter comes by and sees the fig tree that Jesus has cursed and is withered, listen carefully, from the roots to the leaves. Now, that's a very unusual thing. Usually if a tree is dying, its leaves wither first, and then finally the tree dies. But here Peter notices that the tree has withered from the roots up, and it's done it instantly. It's not like it's been weeks or months. This fig tree has died immediately at the command of Jesus. However, Jesus takes this opportunity to talk about faith and doing miracles rather than what I believe the lesson of the fig tree really is about. And I believe the lesson of the fig tree is that the fig tree made a profession without a possession. That is, it had leaves on it, professing that it was in fruit-bearing time, and yet it had no figs, so it was not in possession. And I believe a lot of Christians are like that, or at least they call themselves Christians. They put on the Sunday clothes, they put on the Sunday face, they have the Sunday talk. Everything about them says, I'm a professing Christian, but there's never any fruit. Never anything that would indicate that they really are one of Christ's servants. That's sad, isn't it? That someone would have all of the outward signs of being a Christian and yet never have any fruit in their lives. Profession without possession. Let me ask you a question today. Can you point to some fruit of your Christian life? Someone that you've shared the gospel with, someone that you've nurtured, mentored, something that you've done that's borne fruit for Christ's cause. I think your thought for the day is, am I somebody that has a profession without a possession? Am I not a fruit-bearing Christian? It's not too late. You can soon become a fruit-bearing Christian just by going out and sharing your faith. I challenged ladies yesterday in a little meeting that we had, having just shared our faith, to challenge them to go out to any restaurant whenever they ordered food to ask the waiter or waitress if they could pray for them for anything. And immediately after that, Lois and I went to dinner, and we asked the waitress that, and she reached down, took me by the arm, and she said, absolutely. She said, my 21-year-old daughter just broke up with her boyfriend and she's heartbroken. Would you pray for her? Well, that may not seem very serious to you or to me, but you know, when you have a shattered relationship, it can be pretty devastating to you. And so we prayed for her daughter, and she stood right there as we did, and then thanked us twice for having prayed for her daughter. Profession without possession. That's your thought for the day. I hope that you'll bear some fruit today. God bless you and have a good day.